Hey, everybody, welcome to the Caught by Happy podcast. I am here today with a surprise episode for you. Yes, it's a surprise. I wasn't planning on doing an episode this week, but I had the unique opportunity to speak to a musician, a songwriter, a guy from the Sheila Divine and from Dear Leader. His name is Perrino. He's been a singer in a rock and roll band for the better part of 20 years. They released their first album in 1999, the Sheila Divine did. They had a couple hits on that I remember certainly listening to back in that time period, back when I was getting ready to move out of Western New York and come down to Virginia. A couple of songs on that album that really stand out to me for sure. But he's been creating music ever since then, and we're going to talk to him about that. They just released an album. Some of the topics that they bring up on that album are about getting older, and there's a finality to some of it. But he's not stopping, he says. He's going to keep creating music, and it was my pleasure to talk to him, and I was really honored that he took the time to speak to little old me. So thanks, Aaron, for doing that. Hey, how you feel about grocery shopping? It's not fun, right? I mean, you got to leave your house. You got to go out there and do the whole thing. It's going to take you a couple hours. You spend a ton of money. I know how it is, but take a little bit of that stress off your plate. Sign up for Instant Cart using the link in my show notes. And guess what? Somebody else will do that shopping for you and deliver it right to your door. You don't have to do anything except stand at your door in your pajamas, open it up, and get all your groceries. Use the link in my show notes. Get your Instant Cart delivery. And guess what? It's free delivery for all new signups using that link. Hey, isn't that nice? All right. I'm not going to get into too much else with this podcast intro because I've been sick for the past few days, and I know you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm done. I've been drinking tea. I've been, the honey and all that stuff, and it's just that time of year, right? I mean, everybody's got something right now. I mean, I'd love to talk to you guys about Star Wars and all that stuff, but honestly, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to go see it in a couple of days. There's a lot going on. Holiday, Christmas is here in a few days, but I definitely am taking a break after this. But in the meantime, go up to your podcast provider and binge all 11 episodes of these bad boys. If you haven't already listened to them, find the ones that you haven't listened to and give it a listen. And leave it a rating and leave it a review. I'd be really happy if you could do that for me and give me some honest feedback about the episode. You don't have to give it a 5-star. If you don't like it, give me a 3 or a 2, whatever. That's cool. I mean, as long as you're engaged with what I'm doing here, I want to know about what you think. You can send me an email directly at caughtbyhappy@gmail.com and tell me I suck, or you can tell me I'm awesome, or something in between. Make sure you tell your friends to take a listen too. If there's an episode that they might be interested in, maybe not every one of them's for them, but it might be something that's interesting to somebody else. Maybe they are a business owner, or they're starting their business, or maybe they're a musician, like in the case of my guest today. So thank you for passing on the love and the word. Okay, everybody, here's my chat with Perrino, Boston-based musician from the Sheila Divine and from Dear Leader. New album came out this year. The album is called The Beginning of the End is Where We'll Start Again. Of course, you can listen to that on Apple Music, on Spotify, wherever you get your music, you can find this album from Sheila Divine. And of course, they also have physical copies available as well. I'll put a link to those in my show notes too. So relax. Grab yourself a big, tall glass of eggnog, sit back, and enjoy this chat with Perrino. Hey, well, first of all, thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, I got this call from this guy I went to high school with. Shout out Pat Cam. And he's like, hey, I listened to your podcast, and I think the singer from the Sheila Divine would be on it if you asked him. And I was like, okay. He gives me your email, and I kind of sat on it for a day. And I was like, oh, what the hell? I'll see if he wants to come on. And that was Wednesday. And here we are on Friday. And you're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like, my friend has a podcast. Want to do it? And I'm like, sure.
How's it going?
Pretty good. It's almost Christmas.
Yeah. You getting ready for the holiday? You got any big plans?
No, just, hang out with the kids and give them some stuff.
How old are your kids?
12 and 9.
Yeah, I've got an 8 and a 6 and one that's about to be 2.
Oh, man. You're in it.
Yeah, I'm really in it.
But those are good ages outside the 2-year-old.
No, he's really getting to be crazy too.
Yeah.
Definitely want to talk to you about the 20th anniversary of New Parade, which is this year, I guess it's almost 21 years old. But before we get into any of that, let's just go back and talk about where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, or outside of Buffalo, New York, in a really sleepy town called Hamburg, New York.
That's
winters.
So I'm from that area as well.
Oh, you are?
I live in Virginia now, but I grew up in a little town called Wilson, New York. That's where I went to school. I don't know if you know that.
I feel like I do. I'm trying to place where is that like even more south or is that like
No, that's north. That's like Lake Ontario, Lewiston
okay.
area.
Yeah, okay.
So you're in Hamburg. What year did you graduate from high school?
1991.
Okay, so you're just a little bit older than me. You're like 5 years older than me.
All right.
Were you in? What were you like as a high school kid? Were you into music then?
Yeah, in high school I definitely was. I was super shy, so I feel like I was kind of invisible at
Yeah.
high school. Yeah, I wouldn't say like I'm not friends with anyone I went to high school with, but I'm not close with anyone I went to high school with. It's just sort of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean I have like a few people that I stay in contact with, but I wouldn't say like on the regular. So I kind of like I graduated and I left.
Were you picking up music though since you didn't really have that many friends or you weren't kind of shy, were you picking up music or instruments back then?
Yeah, my stepfather gave me a guitar, I think around ninth or 10th grade, and I like slowly learned how to play it. But I still wasn't very good at guitar, but I wanted to be in a band. So I had a couple of friends, a drummer friend and my friend, one of my best friends, this kid Brent. He was kind of like Ferris Bueller. He had like, satellite radio before it was like a thing, and like he had all these cool toys, but he also had all these cool synthesizers back in the day and like software. So we used to just like make songs, and then we started a little band called BPM, which was kind of like in that Happy Mondays era or whatever, but it was sort of this Manchester keyboardy, I don't know what it was, and I was the singer.
So did you guys just like all teach yourself how to play, or were you like taking legit lessons?
No, never really took lessons. It was always just I went from knowing 2 chords to writing songs. So
really,
yeah.
Who were you listening to back then?
The Smiths, New Order, Joy Division, Violent Femmes, REM, Jane's Addiction, that kind of stuff. So
that that new wavy kind of stuff. Yeah, that was really big in your generation. Yeah.
Pretty much, that's the stuff I would say defined sort of my sound. The Cure, Disintegration was like a huge album in high school. So
yeah, and then what happened after Hamburg? You, I did read that you're a product of SUNY schools, just like me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. Like I went to like a community college for one semester. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to play music, honestly. I kind of knew I did. So I like worked at a record store. But then I moved to Alaska to work for my uncle for a short period of time. Yeah. Actually, my cousin, who I lived with at the time, is the singer of Portugal the Man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, I mean, he always says, like, I'm the one who influenced him to, like, make music and stuff. But so I did that for a little bit. But then I was, like, in Alaska as a young person. And I'm like, what am I doing?
So
and then
this is before, like, college, like after community college, before...
Yeah, before I went to SUNY Oneonta. And then I went to Oneonta. I was like, oh, they have this music industry program. I'm going to do that. And then I was there for a couple of years, and I started this band called the Waverleys there. And we played around, did a bunch of stuff. And then we all moved to Boston. I quit college and was like, I want to make music. Like, I'm going to be a musician. Like, real smart.
Oh, really?
It's like stupid. So
really? Is that a regret that you didn't finish?
No, not really. No, but at the time, I mean, it was just like I'm done. Like I want to do this. So I moved to Boston.
I had your rock star dreams.
But that was still the era where like people would get in a van and tour. So people were still getting record deals. You know what I mean? So it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, now it would just be like completely idiotic. There's no music industry. Back
people don't get in a van now. They sit in their bedroom and they make the stuff and throw it out on SoundCloud, right?
That's right. And then if it takes off, then but yeah, so I did that, and then my band instantly broke up when I moved to Boston.
So why did you move to Boston? Was Boston like the hotbed of like where your people are going to make it as a band? Like why didn't you go to New York?
New York is too scary for me. I don't know, it just seemed too much. Boston seemed more doable. Also, my best friend from high school, Brent, was in Boston going to Berkeley. I was like, all right, I know him. And then, of course, it was like the Pixies and the Lemonheads and there was all those bands from Boston and Letters to Cleo. And I was like, there's a bunch of bands that I love that are from there. So maybe that's the place. And so that's how I ended up starting Sheila Divine with people I went to college with who ended up in Boston. Yeah, we got signed within like 6 months of being a band.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How often were you guys playing around before you got signed? Like, were you playing every night, just whenever you could?
No, I mean we rehearsed all the like every day pretty much, but like we only had like a handful of shows. Literally, my friend Amy, who is actually a big manager now, she manages like Margot Price and Electric Guest and Danger Mouse, but she was like kind of a go-getter, and she went to this label Cherry Disc at the time. It was a Boston label. She went to their Christmas party and put our demo in their cassette tape of like one of the offices. And then when they were cleaning,
Really?
yeah, and then when they were cleaning the party the next morning, they played it and they were like, "What the hell is this?" And then they called me, and then I got a record deal from them.
That's like movie stuff. Like,
Yeah, it'd be movie stuff if we became actually huge, but we did. but and then they ended up getting bought out by Roadrunner. So then it was like we got signed by them, and then instantly we're like, okay, now we're not on Cherry Disc, we're on Roadrunner, and so it went bigger instantly. So it was kind of good.
You went into it thinking you were just gonna put out like a local record for Boston.
Yep, and then
ended up
nation, like a world deal, and so then it just like kind of took off, and within 6 months we were out just living on the road and doing that.
What a weird like twist of events. Like you're just like playing around and rehearsing, and all of a sudden you got a record deal.
Yeah, we didn't really earn it.
So what was that like? Like once you got signed?
Crazy. I mean, our first record deal, it was $35,000, which at the time I was like, this is sweet. We each got like $8,000 after the lawyers took their piece, and that was what we were supposed to live on for the next year and a half.
You got 35,000 just to like for the sign. Like you didn't get 35 to make the album.
No. Then when we made the album as well. Like yeah. So that was the second.
But that was like your salary.
Yeah, pretty much. At the time, it was like, this is great. Like whatever.
Yeah. So did you have a bunch of like label reps and everybody like coming in helping you make the album? Were they kind of guiding you, or did you have your own like artistic freedom to do what you wanted to do?
Yeah, no one was really like overseeing that. Like we made a record, we handed it in. I remember they were like, yeah, we like it. We feel like you still need a hit. Why don't you go back? So we got a bigger producer, and we worked on trying to write a hit, which is that's when we wrote Hum, which was the hit.
Yeah. Well, I thought you had a couple of hits on that album, didn't you?
If you call them hits. But yeah, we had a couple popular songs in a very minor way. But yeah, so that was sort of then when we handed in Hum, they're like, all right, this is the song. Did that, then went on tour with like Morrissey and Manic Street Preachers and a bunch of those types of bands. And
so you went on to the album dropped. You had the single already playing on radio, I guess.
Yeah.
I definitely remember hearing it on the radio.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was like a nationwide thing, but it was definitely like we were on like 100 stations or something. But I mean, like, I guess to have a hit, you need to be on like 200 radio stations, and we only got it on like 100. So it's sort of like, middling.
Those label guys need to work on their connections at Clear Channel or whatever.
It's definitely still payola. So I mean, I know they did spend money on working it. But
tell me about the tour. So you guys are what, mid-20s at this point?
Yeah, 24, something like that.
And you're on tour with Morrissey.
That's right.
Who I'm guessing you probably looked up to. Well, you said you listened to this.
They were. I mean, obviously, this is pre-right-wing racist Morrissey.
Right.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, but he was total diva on the tour. But it was still obviously an insane opportunity and awesome.
Where did you guys go? Like, what's the coolest places you were playing back then?
I mean, we went everywhere. Like, I mean, I've driven across the country more times than I can remember. It was more like the places I liked over the places I didn't. But I've been to like every state. And then we also played in China and did some Europe stuff as well. So it was some good travel stuff.
Well, I mean, you said that you were only on 100 stations or so, but you guys were pretty big in Western New York. Is that because of your upbringing there and just like your tie to the area, or? Maybe
that had some of it, but I mean, this guy, Rich Wall, who ran 103 The Edge, he's like one of my best friends right now still. But he took a shine to the band because I was from Hamburg. He definitely put us heavy rotation, and Buffalo loves to support Buffalo things. So they
really do. I mean, I haven't lived there in 20 years, and I love to support Buffalo things.
Yeah, I mean, it's this underdog mentality, and so no matter what, it's sort of like part of your DNA.
Well, that brings me to a question I'm sure you've been asked a million times about the opening track to that album.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's about the city and leaving the city and just trying to get away from that, because at that time in the late 90s, it was just very depressing. And that's what I put onto it. Like maybe I project my own.
I mean, it's just kind of like there's no opportunity there, and it's like you can either like work a dead end job or you kind of have to leave. Like there just isn't the opportunity. Obviously it's changed now, and I feel like it's a little bit more. It's different now, but then.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I just like the vivid memories of just driving past Lackawanna, like Bethlehem Steel, like on the Skyway.
Right.
That imagery like appears in millions of, in hundreds of my songs, kind of like it's like just has a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, the album came out 20 years ago. I left 20 years ago, and I remember listening to that song and just feeling like, man, I gotta go. It's not because I don't like this town, but there's just nothing for me here. Like if I want to go and follow whatever I was that I was studying, then I had to leave Buffalo, or else I'm going to work in a restaurant for the rest of my life, which is what I was doing at this time. Now it's really cool town. I mean, they kept the art, they kept the culture, they kept like the vibe of the city, but business is coming back, so they're starting to grow and retain the young people. So I'm really looking forward to see where the city goes.
For sure, I have quite a few Buffalo songs. So it's a song called Father Baker.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Song called The Swan. I have one about the old Pink Flamingo bar. It's called Everyone Looks Better in the Dark. So yeah.
Nice. So tell me what's happened since that first album. I know you made one pretty much. It came out a year or two after the first one dropped.
Yep. Countryman. It's the sort of same story as many. Like you do it, you give everything to it, and then after you kind of get to a certain point, this arc of like you see it like decline a little bit, less people, we got dropped, and then you're like 30 and I guess I'm gonna start a family and now I gotta get a real job.
Was that not the plan? Like were you planning on just like being a rock star and doing the rock star thing?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I that's probably one of the things I struggle with still to this day.
Really?
Yeah, because I've never stopped writing music. Like I'm 46 years old. I just put out, I think it's maybe my 10th or 11th album, but like going through, I have recorded 180 something songs or something like that. I've never stopped. If I could do it for real, like as a job, I would. But it's not realistic. I have children now, and it's not like a big regret or anything. It's just reality versus fantasy.
I mean, do you ever think about it though? Like, what if that album took off, or what if they signed us and gave us a huge?
Sure. There's now it's more like, what if I could just get one song in a movie that was like a huge thing that won an Oscar, and then you're a songwriter for other people, and it totally makes you the musician you want to be. But
have you done anything like that? Have you been writing any kind of music for film?
I've had stuff in commercials. Dear Leader, my other band, had a song in a Cadillac commercial. That changed everything for me. I made more money from that than my entire career of music up to that point.
Really?
Yeah, just for like licensing a song. It was great. I mean, I'm not rich, but I just it was like, enough to put a down payment on a house. It was great.
Goes a little farther than that initial 8,000, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I've had like stuff in movies and stuff, but it's always like a $500 check here or there.
So after Countryman, and that album didn't go as planned as you guys had hoped, I guess. You said you got dropped from the label?
We got dropped before Countryman, so we.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I mean Countryman. We were still like touring and playing with like Not a Surf and Sloan.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like bad.
I feel like there was a couple of good songs on that album that were I remember listening to.
Like Countryman did very well in Belgium, and like it wasn't bad. It was just more like after doing that tour, then we signed to this label called Arena Rock, which was pretty cool. They put out like Super Drags records. This guy Greg Glover, he's an awesome guy who used to work at Elektra, and he's like a super music fan. And he put out this EP, Secret Society, and that was good. But then, like I said, we kind of we never stopped touring, and we burnt out, and it was just sort of like I'm going to have a kid now. I'm going to like find a real job. I never quit. We kind of stopped doing it. And then I started Dear Leader immediately after that, which was like a solo project. That turned into a full band. Still did touring and stuff like that with them too.
So did you guys ever say to each other, like, we're going to take a break from this, we're going to stop, or you just naturally did?
Yeah, the guitarist, Colin, he quit. He was just like, I'm done with this. You guys are psychos. Yeah, and then it was just after that, we kind of went our separate ways, took a break.
Were you guys psychos?
Maybe. I don't know. I think when you all want something so bad and it doesn't happen, you become, I don't know. Again, trying to turn a passion into a career, it's hard sometimes.
Sure. Like you said, you were touring and playing all the time. You were probably stuck with each other a lot.
But yeah. It's 4 guys staying in one hotel room or whatever, pre-cell phone days. So
you took a break for a little bit. You're doing Dear Leader. How did that go? You said you had something in the Cadillac commercial. Was that a solo project or is that a band?
It's a band.
Yeah.
But it started as a solo project. It was just going to be me. But then my friend Paul, he had like a label called Lunch Records. He was in a band called Orbit, which had a hit back in the day. But he was like, hey, let me play drums on your record. And I was like, okay, cool. And then John from Tugboat Annie, Buffalo band.
That's a Buffalo band.
Yeah, like he's like, oh, I'll play bass. And then it like just turned into, okay, now I got like the bassist from Tugboat, and then we just became a band. Put out a bunch of records, I think 4 or 5. I loved it. And then I remained friends with Sean and Jim throughout the Dear Leader thing. So it was never like drama. Jim and I were just like, we should do a new record. And then we did Kickstarter, which was, at the time new. And I was like, let's see what we could do. And we raised like 13 grand in like a week.
Wow.
Holy cow. Like, this is crazy. So then we made this record.
Did you know that there was a thirst out there of like Sheila Divine fans that were like, I need some more music?
I thought maybe, but like I didn't think it would be like that, do that well. But it was great. And so then we made a record. It wasn't like a very good one, but again, the idea was we were going to write it live in the studio, and broadcast it and make this collaborative thing. So it was sort of like a digital idea.
Like a collaborative thing with the people who were putting up the money?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. It is what it is. But it did spawn then it was like, okay, we're a band again. And then I've kind of since then, I did all the hard work to make Sheila Divine. That was the most successful band. So now whatever I do, it'll just be Sheila Divine. That's kind of.
So Dear Leader is not a thing anymore?
It's not a thing, but I do play Dear Leader songs.
Oh, okay. Before we get into the new record, at some point throughout all of this last 20 years, you had to have been like, well, shit, I got to get a job.
Exactly.
What are you doing for health insurance?
Basically, when I quit the first time, I met this guy, super music fan, by the name of Gareth K. He was like a friend of one of my music friends, and he's like, I run this, department at this ad agency. It's called Account Planning. We have Napster as one of our clients. You'd be a good strategic planner on that, with your experiences. So he kind of threw me a bone, gave me this job, and then it kind of spawned into, I have worked in advertising for the past, 16 years, 15 years. And I've went from working on big brand stuff at some cool agencies and digital agencies. And then I went to Converse for a while. I was the head of all global digital there.
Converse sneakers. Shoes.
Yeah. So making content for Rubber Track Studios and for their skate team and stuff like that. And then that.
So when you say you were making content, are you doing photography, video? What are you doing?
Well, I came up with concepts and hired people to make the stuff.
Awesome.
Had budgets and stuff. So I wasn't
cool.
shooting. And then that came crashing down because Nike basically decided to switch directions and they fired everybody in that world. And basically they closed down Rubber Track Studio. It's kind of a bummer. So since then I've just kind of been being a freelance digital guy and figuring it out.
You and I have kind of similar interests, I guess, when it comes to our day jobs.
Yeah. What do you?
I've been more in-house content.
Yeah.
So I do the same type of thing where we come up with a strategy behind the content, come up with plans. I'm almost like a publishing model where we'll look a couple of months ahead, find out what the trends are going to be, and then put together a plan to create the content to get it out there. And now I'm really more of where you were, which was coming up with the ideas for it and then giving it out to other people to go create.
Oh, cool. So very
Yeah.
similar. Yeah. So now I'm at a weird crossroads. Like I put out this new record, just did a tour of Europe, and it was like maybe one of the most successful tours we've done. It felt like we were bigger now there than we were before.
Really?
Yeah.
You did a tour supporting the new record?
Yep. In Belgium and
Yeah.
Holland. It was amazing, and I'm trying to do as much of it as I can while still being like a responsible, good dad. Also figuring out what I'm going to do career-wise, because I'm like sort of, the freelance market's real rough right now as well.
Right. Well, tell me about, you started to talk about it a little bit, your decision to get back together and start writing this new record.
Well, like I said, we were never like not together. We put out a record before this last one called The Morbs. Just no one really heard it. I think it's a pretty good record. And then this one, I don't know, like I just started, it was kind of like after the Converse thing and just in my like freelance days, I had a lot more time to like play music again. And for me, like these are like some of the best songs I've written in a long time for me personally. Having written 100 and however many songs I've written, I was like, ooh, this batch just seems good because I want to play them. Each album you'd be like, oh, this is a good one. I'll put this in the set. Like, here's one or two. But this one, I was like, no, I love everything. And that was like the first time in a while. And we took like 2 years to make it, really labored over it. People have said to me that they think this is one of the best ones I've done in a long time. So
yeah, I've been listening to it for the past couple of days. I mean, the title is The Beginning of the End.
Is where we'll start again.
So obviously there's a bit of like these undertones or overtones, I guess, of like finality to this. And it's even evident within the lyrics of some of these songs.
Yep.
I don't know if maybe that's because, you're in your 40s now.
Yeah, how much longer can you keep it going?
Yeah.
Also, like Jim, the bassist, he quit. He was the only other original member that was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to leave. So the last show we did was the last show he's done. So, and I kind of knew that going in. So that's why I kind of like, well, whatever I do now, it's going to be something new. It's going to be the Sheila Divine still. It's going to be new. So.
It's just kind of like where we'll start again. Like you're just starting over.
Yeah. So I've been rehearsing with some people and seeing where it goes.
Some new potential bandmates.
Yeah, like some new, just fresh blood. No, new energy.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like I think, playing with different people, it definitely takes things in different ways, and
yeah,
it's always interesting.
Can you still do the? I mean, you've got a very unique voice. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Yeah.
Can you still hit those like screams and the falsetto with like singing full voice, going to scream, going to falsetto, like all so effortless? It seems.
Yeah, I think I can still.
Yeah.
You can ask. Maybe someone will say I've lost a little, but I mean, a lot of people think I still have it.
Did you hear that from other people, like especially when you guys first started out? And I mean, Hum is just like screaming like crazy.
My thing, which is not necessarily a good thing for me personally, when I play, I think I have calmed down a little bit. But like, I used to go into shows, and to me, if I didn't like, not hurt myself, but like if I didn't feel like I gave every single ounce of like whatever, then I didn't give enough. And so
yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous, but I would like just see how far could I scream to like where like I'm about to be murdered, and then how like opera can I get. I don't know, I just that was like sort of my thing.
Yeah,
take it as far as I could. But it, then I used to have like a lot of throat problems, and
oh really?
It was hard to tour because you can't do that 5 days a week.
Right.
Just played Buffalo actually, and it was like one of those shows where I just like I went mental on it, and like
you got to give the people what they want.
I couldn't talk for like 2 days. Like it was like totally like shattered my voice. Whereas like in Belgium I had to do 5 in a row, so you have to kind of like pace yourself.
They love you over there in Belgium, huh?
They guess so.
Why is that? Why'd you guys get so big over there?
I mean, kind of similar to like the Rich Wall story. We had like a super fan guy who worked at Roadrunner, this guy Steph DeVos, and he took it on himself to like break the record, and he got it on the radio and made it happen. So,
nice.
I mean, obviously that's part of it, and then connecting with the Belgian audience, who honestly, Belgium is kind of like Buffalo in Europe. Like it's this weird. They're kind of like, everyone makes fun of them. It's a small country, but
they're the European Buffalo.
I mean, honestly, honestly. But it's like people are like really like earnest. To me, it's like they have the best parts of France and like the love of cuisine and culture, but then they have like this little bit of German in them that's like arty, weird, and then it's definitely a music loving country. It's really bizarre how into it they are and like how many festivals people go to, and it's also like they buy records still, like
physical copies.
Yeah. It's, I mean, obviously digital is becoming, they're just like a little bit behind or something because they really like, they still buy CDs.
So tell me about some of the songs that are on this new album. Like which ones kind of stand out to you as like your babies?
Well, obviously the title track, I think lyrically was really fun. And that one, like, it came together really fast. That's been a good one. And then the one that's like sort of resonating live is Summer of '93. Everyone that's my age is just like, dude, you're like killing me with this one. like I've had like several people be like, that one like crushes. And and then Blow It Up Again. Those are like kind of the three that like people really, and obviously Age Is Just a Number.
Is that the single?
It's kind of the single right now. That one live is good. I don't think it's my best song, but I think it's got the energy.
The song right before that on the album, is that Blow It Up Again? Yeah. That's a great song.
Yeah, and live that one's really like coming together in a way that like it sounds awesome.
So you said that you just played the last show with your bassist?
That's right.
Are you still playing live now? With the new guys?
I played a solo show recently, but we have no shows scheduled right now. I'm actually booking some stuff now, so
yeah,
we're going to be doing some festivals this summer. I'm just trying to put this band together. So it's mostly going through the catalog and figuring out like what 15 songs out of my entire career would make the best, which is exciting to me that now I can like fully integrate Dear Leader into the mix as well. I just feel like having 10 albums to pull from is crazy.
When you go out and you're doing festivals and stuff like that, and you have to go back through all of your catalog, like, are you going in like with the idea like I'm introducing this to people for the first time because we're at a festival with headliners and maybe they're here to see Weezer or whatever? And
I mean, yeah, maybe. I feel like every set has to have Hum, and it has to like usually it's like Hum, Criminal, Buffalo are always in the set because those are like the three everybody loves. From there,
and how do you feel about playing them 20 years later?
I'm okay with it because people are into it. I mean, it's like it's hard not to have fun when people are like connecting to something that you wrote. Like I make Hum fun. Like I always do like a crazy medley in the middle where I just go off on whatever's in my brain with Guns N' Roses or Van Halen or whatever, and it's like so stupid.
You got to spice it up. You've been playing the song for 20 years. You got to do it.
But usually that's like my comedy routine, and so it's very fun for me to be like, how far can I take the stupidity?
Well, great, man. I mean, it sounds like you're in an awesome place right now with the new record and the potential new band, and getting maybe even writing some new stuff soon, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I have a couple of these songs in the hopper right now, so I've been using this the cut up take technique, which is started by William Burroughs, and where you like jumble up words and take like text and then let like kind of serendipity, like the jumbling of words, and then you find weird phrases that kind of happen. It's cool. I mean, I'm not like writing whole songs from it, but I do find that it's like the closest thing to like taking drugs, because it's sort of like and like David Bowie used it and Kurt Cobain, but it's been really like I've written a couple of cool songs where you just find these amazing word combinations that inspire entire songs. So
cool.
Yeah.
What do you got going on for work? you said you're freelancing.
Freelancing. I'm like pretty far in negotiate. That's why my 2:00 call is like. I'm trying to get like a full-time gig, so I've been doing is trying to find like the right fit. So
that's as long as you can balance the full-time gig with the side gig, or
usually music is a weekend thing for the most part. I'm not looking to like go out on a Monday night and play Cleveland.
or Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, but a JetBlue flight, if you buy in advance, is like $80. So it's a real easy to play Buffalo.
You're still in Boston, right?
Yeah, I am. So
you like that town?
I'm kind of over it, but
Really?
but I have children here, so if I could,
All right.
I might move somewhere with better weather.
Well, I hope you and your family have a great holiday.
Same to you.
I appreciate you coming out and taking the time.
Yeah, no, this was fun. So
And anything you want to plug? You got any websites or?
it's the SheilaDivine.bandcamp.com
All right.
because no one goes to websites. Or you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram. That's the world we live in.
All right. Cool. Thanks a lot.
All right.
And keep in touch, man. If you got any cool jobs coming up, I'm freelancing myself right now. I'm consulting, so I'd love to work with you on something.
Let's collab on something. I like it.
All right, man.
All right. See you, man.
Well, there it is. Thank you so much to Aaron Perrino for coming on the podcast and talking about his new album, talking about what it was like making his old albums, talking about what it was like, going through the whole thing with the band and band members coming in and out and starting a new band and keeping the Sheila Divine alive. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the links to Aaron's music in the show notes so you guys can check it out for yourself. And guess what? They just recently re-released New Parade for the 20th anniversary. So you got to check that album out. It's really good. It's a really great album from 1999 that I think it just seems so timeless, especially when you go back and think about the music that was coming out at that time. I mean, 1999, we're talking like Limp Bizkit, Nookie era, and they're doing just good old rock music, man. So check it out. Give them a listen, and you can buy yourself a physical copy if you want, or you can just stream the albums on Spotify or Apple or however you want to do it. But, it's always important to support the artist. So go to their Bandcamp page as well, SheilaDivine.bandcamp.com, and check out their music there as well. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful and amazing 2020. For me, 2019 was a real kick in the ass. But, the last couple of months, I think things have been on the upswing. So 2020, I hope to continue that trend. And if you want to come on the show in 2020, I'm starting to book up some guests now. So let's do this thing. Let's see if I can make this thing last all year. For 2020. I don't know. No promises, but we're going to try. And if you want to be on the show, email me, caughtbyhappy@gmail.com. Let me know your story, and we can get you on here. All right, everybody. Have a great New Year's, and I will see you in 2020. Bye-bye. Caught by Happy is a production of Harrington Communications Consultants. If you need anything in the way of content marketing, communications, public relations, or social media, or even podcast production, hit us up at harringtoncc.net.